Anthony Lee, A Lee Real Estate on social media here in Philadelphia. Licensed agent with Realty One Group Focus Philly, licensed agent slash owner. Been doing real estate since 2014, 2013. Um, but I got into real estate because I wanted to be a real estate investor.
Hmm.
And buying that first property, I realized there's so much that I don't know, but I want to know. So, and that's what motivated me to get my real estate license.
Yes.
In addition to just time, and I got laid off from my job, and it was like, well, I'm getting this unemployment. I might as well go to real estate school,
Hmm.
get my license, and hopefully turn it into, another stream of income, which
Hmm.
ended up turning it into a career. And I've been doing real estate sales ever since.
Nice. Okay, so you have been in the real estate industry for about 11 years.
Yes, actually, yes.
Okay, so you started out with investing in a property.
Yeah, so I bought my first property using my first time home buyer loan, just graduated from college. I had a cousin that put me on the idea of real estate. He's like, yo, when you ever get a chance, buy a duplex. You don't have no kids. He was like,
Hmm.
buy a duplex this way as a first time home buyer. You only got to put a little bit of money down, in which my first property, I think I put like $4,000 down. The mortgage was only 600 bucks at the time. So the
Wow.
rent on the first floor was 600. And
Wow.
when you're buying FHA, you have to live in it. So I lived in that second floor unit
Hmm.
for 1 year. And then I moved back into my parents' house and then rented out the second unit for 700 bucks. So that was when I was like, oh, this is
Yes.
like a good thing. This is like the real deal.
Hmm.
Um, and then I started telling all my friends about it. So one of my other friends, he did it and it was like, yo, all right, well, we got to figure out how to do this more. So that was what helped me get my license. And getting my license is really how I learned how to really become a true investor.
Hmm.
And the evolution has been evolving ever since.
Okay, nice. Tell me, what is the benefit of investing in a duplex first, before like a single family, for example, for a first time home buyer?
Right. So especially if you don't have kids or you only have one child, um, you don't need a lot of space. So ideally, most people they start making money. They stretch what they make by buying a car, maybe buying a house or renting. The difference is if you buy a duplex, again, somebody else is going to pay a good portion of your living expense,
Hmm.
which is your mortgage. So like if you have rent that's $1,400 a month, there's nobody to help you do that unless you get a roommate.
Hmm.
But if you buy the property, again, a duplex, a triplex, you could potentially be living for free. Like I said, I lived upstairs and the tenant downstairs basically covered the mortgage. All I had to do was pay my utilities. So, where can you live and be paying less than $500 other than renting a room these days?
Right.
So
True.
back then that was great. I mean, now mortgages have definitely went up. That same house is probably worth 12, $1,400 a month
Hmm.
in for a mortgage, but the rent probably also, I'm gonna say one unit might be 1,000, the second unit might be 1,200. You're still winning.
Yeah.
So buying that duplex not only allows you to save and maximize, well, stretch your income, but it also puts you in a position where you can eventually use another FHA loan to buy a single family house because you used
Hmm.
it on a multifamily. You can't buy single family and then go multifamily, but
Hmm.
you can go multifamily and then go single family.
That's a great point to make because a lot of people definitely don't know that.
Right.
Definitely don't know that. So, with your first time home buyers program, how did it help you, the one that you actually tapped into?
So at the time, I didn't take advantage of any grants or anything like that. It just allowed me to get maximum seller assist. So when you go to buy a house, you can ask the seller to give you 3% seller assist or 6% seller assist. And me getting that 6% seller assist is again what helped me, especially at that price point, only come to the table with like $4,000 to buy a whole house.
Hmm.
People were buying cars and crashing cars out in 6 to 8 months for $4,000. Instead, I bought a house.
Okay, yes, yes, that's so key. That is so key. I actually bought my first house a year after graduating too, so that was a big thing for me because I just was like, I don't want to rent.
Right.
Yeah, that was.
That and before life starts happening is like, your expenses are low. Go ahead and if you can buy property.
Hmm. So now you say you've been an agent for a while now. And can you tell me a little bit about your journey as an agent and a little bit about the brokerage that you work with?
So, um, I started out selling houses to my friends that I went to school with and some of the people I grew up with. So always, had that entrepreneur spirit, trying to figure out how to make money. I always had, a okay job, but it was like it's never enough. And some of the goals I have is like real estate allows you to fast track things sometimes. So real estate was like the happy medium of being able to make money, but also help people and be fulfilled.
Hmm.
Um, so that was like a best of both worlds for me. So again, in the beginning, business for me, a little shaky. I didn't come out the gate, selling hundreds of houses, houses here and there. But over time, I've been able to build up the momentum. I've been able to network and build a team. So I started my own team with some of my other colleagues called the Good Neighbor Real Estate Team.
Hmm.
We bounced around from a couple offices over time. But for us, we just really never found the right fit, that home that really like, because when you work for people, especially for those who are contractors, we're contract employees, um, you want to feel appreciated. You want to feel like people are trying to help you reach your goals. So going to
Right.
these different offices don't always feel that way. I've been at the big box, Long and Foster, Keller Williams. I've been at some of the smaller offices as well. So, built some relationships, but nothing necessarily, you know, game changing where it was like, all right, this is home.
Hmm.
So the last office I was at, it was like, yo, I'm tired of moving, tired of leaving. I might as well go open up my own situation. So I
Yeah.
bought a franchise, Realty One Group Focus, here in Philadelphia. We just been open for a year. But again, I've only been able to do that because of the relationships I built and because of I started out building a team. So that team
Yeah.
has grown now. We don't necessarily have the team anymore. We have the brokerage where everybody can independently do what they want
Hmm.
or what benefits them, but we operate as a collective where, there's a lot of teamwork, we share information and we support each other. And
Yeah.
that's like my biggest thing because again, you're only as good as your environment, I feel like at times. And when
Hmm.
things get tough, you need the right people around you to help you succeed. You need the right people around, even just to inspire you.
Yes.
So, I like to think that our office is a place where agents can be inspired and also agents will share game with you so that you can go, do what you need to do to reach your goals.
Very nice. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you. Thank
'Cause
you. Yeah.
it's not an easy thing to take on, being a broker, let alone a broker of a franchise. Like that's really, really big. So
Right.
congratulations.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I'm not a broker yet. My partner, she is the broker. So again, I'm
Okay.
always going to talk about collaboration. A lot of people coin that collaboration over competition.
It's important.
Yeah, but then people be backdooring people and doing all kind of stuff.
Yes.
But not like I really try to collaborate and build genuine relationships so that, it's a win-win for all of us. Because like especially now, like it's kind of hard to do like you could be a person that wants to do everything, but it's
Hmm.
like, why? If somebody's good at that, they already got
Yeah.
it. Like, yo, just figure out a way to make it a win-win for everybody and y'all can get to where you're trying to go to a lot faster.
Yes, and that's a word in entrepreneurship, especially as we get into a time where it is a little bit more difficult to make these things happen because, especially within our community, we're facing so many things against us, but also we don't always have the resources to do things ourselves. So that is a very good point to highlight, I think, is to work in collaboration with people to achieve those bigger goals. Because when it comes to real estate, I feel a lot of people feel it's unachievable because they're thinking about taking the whole, you like, I got to eat the whole cake by myself. And it's like,
Right.
you don't. Yes. So that's really important.
No, so like if you start networking and joining certain groups, you'll realize most people have some type of team. There's normally a face to the business,
Hmm.
but there's normally other people in the background or some other type of support. I mean, think about it. Most people, you want to go do something, you got to go to the bank and partner with the bank to go do it. So
Right.
it's no difference than partnering with people and using their resources to collaborate. Now, again, you got to make sure everything aligns and everybody's on the same page, but it's definitely possible. And again, I feel like it helps speed the process up depending on where you're trying to go.
Yes. Can you touch on a little bit about how your partnerships have helped you when it comes to real estate investing?
Um, well, trying to so yeah, so the partnerships for real estate investing. So again, I mean, it's the same thing that we just talked about. You can do it yourself, try to save up $50,000, or you could go get two, three people you know and come and raise the $50,000.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And again, now you're able to maybe do multiple deals. So during my process, my journey, I've been able to have partnerships, whether it's seed money, whether it is, you be the contractor, I'll find a deal. But those relationships, depending on the situation, have been beneficial. Sometimes they don't always wash out and you do hit some road bumps. But now I feel like also looking back, that road bump is probably beneficial as well.
Hmm.
And when I say beneficial, because imagine you take a loss or there's a hurdle and you had to stomach it on your own, that 20 grand out of your pocket versus that 10 grand out of your pocket because it's you and a partner.
Mm, that's true. Very true. Very, very true.
Yeah.
So I really want to talk about the investment market and how things are going in Philadelphia in particular, as far as investments and as far as the real estate market, because, it was just named one of the, I think the fifth
Top
hottest.
five.
Yes, top five hottest real estate markets. There's been a lot of discourse, of course, around the affordability of housing in Philadelphia, and then the increase of big investors coming in and kind of snatching up the land coverage that is available in Philadelphia. So, if you could just touch on kind of what you're seeing and what your thoughts are for what the future of that looks like for maybe individuals who may be doing it. I won't say solo, but on a smaller scale.
So Philadelphia is still a market that does have opportunity. I'll say that. However, to your point, Philadelphia market is also competitive. So you kind of gotta find what works for you and
Mhm.
ride that wave. Um, and then, well, I mean, where you want me to go in regards to affordability? If you're looking to buy in Philadelphia, I mean, you got houses that start from 75,000 to, $1 million and up. So,
Mhm.
they have different pockets.
Yeah.
Again, Philadelphia, I would say is more affordable than, like some places in Jersey and definitely
Mhm.
more affordable than New York. So
Mhm.
we get people that commute, from Philly to New York every day. Or, we're kind of like that middle ground for people who don't want to go all the way to Delaware.
Yeah.
And of course, we have the attractions and different events all year long here in
Mhm.
Philadelphia. And then, I mean, outside of that, if you're on the investing side, again, the main thing is just stick to your price point, stick to your comfort, and don't try to chase what you see everybody on Instagram doing. Because
Yes.
again, you just have to start where you are and work your way up,
Mhm.
or pivot. You might have to pivot, but Philadelphia does have some opportunity. The biggest thing right now, I think that's the hurdle or roadblock when it comes to investing in Philadelphia is just understanding the laws and the rules that keep constantly changing when it comes to landlord tenant laws.
Mhm.
That's like our only drawback right now. The landlord tenant laws, I'm not gonna lie, in Philadelphia are getting tougher.
Yeah.
Um, where I'm reconsidering, my strategy.
Yeah.
Um, but it's definitely a thing where your dollar can stretch though if you do come to Philadelphia.
Okay. So when you say tougher, you mean on the landlord side, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're talking about $20 rental application fees. They're talking about tenants not having to pay security deposits anymore, or
Oh,
they can put
Lord.
it on a payment plan. And it's like the tenants don't pay the rent barely now.
Right.
You talking about put the security deposit. Like now I'm out the security deposit too. Like, what are we doing? Like, and it's not programs out here that are just willy-nilly helping landlords be able to pay these bills. So I
Right.
don't know what's going on, but I know the legislation, they need to get it together.
Yeah. That's a very good point to make because for those who may kind of see the glitz and the glam of the city of Philadelphia, that is something that is important to make note of, especially a lot of people, when you get into real estate investing, they don't realize that being a landlord is kind of a whole different ball game.
No, being a landlord is a skill within itself. And I think people get, I mean, I even had to learn like, yo, my landlord hat is completely different than my real estate flipper hat or my
Hmm.
agent hat. And again, if you're going to be a landlord, you really have to have your systems and understand your process so that you don't get burnt because that mortgage, especially if you got a mortgage, that mortgage is due every month and
Right,
they don't want to hear nothing about what the tenant got going on, what you didn't do, you did
right.
do. So, you definitely want to cross all your T's and dot your I's before you get in that game.
And that definitely can make or break you for sure.
100%, 100%. That's the one thing about this market right now. You see a lot of landlords are selling properties off, or being foreclosed on because of some of the problems they're having with getting tenants out who don't pay, or even just the market and what the interest rates are. Like you just can't sustain.
Yeah. That's very real. So, what is one thing that you've learned? Like, what is a tip that you could give to someone who is maybe interested in renting out properties as a way to a buy and hold strategy, so to speak? So, if they want to get into the buy and hold strategy where they're holding it and renting it to someone, what advice would you give for someone who's never done that before?
So the big thing I would say is definitely save your reserves. And what I mean by that is have money in the tuck for problems because problems will happen.
Hmm.
Um, for at minimum for every property, you want to have like $5,000 cushion for every property.
Hmm.
And on top of that, make sure your homeowner's insurance is on point. Like I'm
Hmm.
still learning. I just had a situation where my homeowner's insurance, I had the basic policy and I just had a break-in and none of it's covered.
Wow.
So, because I wanted the payment to be so cheap. So sometimes it's not always best to take the cheapest route because you pay for it in the long run.
Hmm.
So definitely. Oh, and then I also would like when it comes to landlord, the biggest thing is don't try to be their friend. Don't try to like
Hmm.
build rapport, but don't try to be their friend if you're going to self-manage and definitely try to make it where you have most things on automation. So apartments.com is one of the easiest things I feel like you can use and
Hmm.
it's free. Collect your rents through there, have the tenants communicate to you through there so you can always track and keep everything. And you can have a portal. So even for the small landlord, you can have a system and a team, but it's something that you don't have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Um, and then really outside of that, remember these rental properties are not to feed you now, they're for the future. So just treat them as such as investments so that again, you look up 10 years from now and you can cash out on something or you can refinance something. But again, you're always using the rental properties for future gains. They're not gains for today.
That is important to note because I think that with the glitz and glam that is surrounding real estate, now it's a sexy thing to be a part of, but people take that okay, I can get rich off of this, but they don't realize the amount that you really have to put in and really save in order to be successful in it in the long run. It's not really a short term gain is as much
Right.
of a short term gain as people think it is.
For sure. For sure. And I mean, granted, you might be making 300, $400 in cash flow, but that money really should be putting you in position for something else. Or again, you wanted to sit and didn't pay yourself out later on.
Hmm. So, what areas? Because now in Philadelphia, it's like, um, not saying I don't want to touch on the word gentrification, but it can be overused or oversaturated in a sense of kind of what is actually going on or why it's happening or because when it comes to like an investment strategy, obviously companies are going to invest in what they feel is lucrative, so that's why you see a lot of bigger businesses coming in. But what areas do you feel that smaller investors can still get into when it comes to Philadelphia that aren't because I think when it comes to investment sometimes there's the areas where it's like, oh, it's not even close to being there yet. So maybe it's still a little bit like, I don't know if I want to invest there. Or you have your areas that's like Northern Liberties where it's like, okay, you're not getting in there unless you got some millions in your pocket. So what areas do you feel are still?
So So you kind of answered the question. So I mean, the easy thing I tell people, like you said, yes, gentrification takes place. Yes, it's going to happen. However, let them spend that money. Let them do what they do and keep developing. And you buy on the outskirts of those areas.
Yeah.
You can still buy on the outskirts, and then it'll just keep trickling all around. So
Yeah.
your big payday might not be today, but it could be tomorrow. It could be 3 years from now.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. That makes a lot of sense because I think a lot of people feel like, okay, I can't get in here, but does that mean that I have to be like far north Philadelphia to even invest in something? And it's like, I love the idea of like, no, like literally just around the corner. Like you can have something that's worth.
No, for sure. And that's literally all you do. So I tell people like, imagine hanging out with millionaires and you get 10% of a million.
Hmm.
That's more than you would have got if you hung out with people that was only making minimum wage.
Yes.
So it's the same concept, just on the other side of the investing side. So don't take it personal. Don't fight it. More so figure out how to use it to your advantage. And again, if they're buying over here, you buy across the street around the corner.
Hmm. That is great. I love that. So do you do like fix and flips or how do you acquire your properties? What do you look for when you're looking for an investment property?
So I haven't done fix and flips probably in about a year now.
Hmm.
I've been doing more so buy and hold because the
Hmm.
numbers just haven't been washing out for fix and flips, but buy and hold they've been working. Um, but I do it, I mean, I kind of take it opportunity case by case and also what my funds look like. It's a lot easier to manage a buy and hold because you don't need as much money for a fix and flip. You need money for upfront costs, you need money for reserves when things go wrong, and then you need holding costs while you're trying to sell it. So fix and flips is a little more cash extensive. However, for like I said, it's more so case by case. But in a perfect world, if I could do two fix and flips a year and two buy and hold a year, three buy and hold a year,
Hmm.
I'm content.
Okay, nice. So how many properties do you have under your portfolio right now?
Right now I believe it's around 22, 23.
Nice. Okay, and they're all rentals.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
no, no, no. So maybe 24 then 25 because I have two lots. I have
Okay.
properties and I have two lots that I own.
Nice. Nice. Are you keeping a buy and hold strategy with the lots as well?
I mean, I got them for so cheap. I really just bought them because they were so cheap.
Yeah.
Um, and we're just waiting to see what happens. But if I get the right number, I could always use some cash.
Right. Do you feel like that may be a good strategy for those who feel like they're outpriced from like purchasing actual property, like to look for lots and maybe potentially do something with
Long
those?
as you don't need the money or you don't have anywhere to put it. So again, if you can find something cheap, I mean, it's not that much of a tax write-off to say like, oh, I just did it for the tax write-off. But again, if you got the money and you don't mind, you're stashing it for say 3 to 5 years and it's not going to hurt your day to day, then yeah, I mean, go for it. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's those same areas. Sometimes you buy those cheap lots. You look up one day and that thing might be, like you said, the new Northern Liberties. You just never know.
That's so true. It's a lot strategy if you don't need the money immediately is a good strategy. Are there still lots available? Because Philadelphia is a grid, right? So it's only but so much land. So do you see a lot of lot opportunities? Are they mostly coming from vacant teardowns? Where do you even
So
find them?
that's what I was going to say. So I mean, you have the option of houses being torn down, which is definitely more of a thing now because of the value of the land now.
Yeah.
Some of these locations, the land is more valuable than the property, and if the city gets a lien on it, they gonna tear it down. So you have that you can look at as sheriff sale.
When it comes to actually like being a real estate professional and a real estate agent, what have you observed to be like the biggest barrier that people either experience or they feel like they're going to experience before they get into trying to purchase a home?
Biggest barrier is credit.
Mm-hmm.
Credit and saving money. I think it's for everybody, like being able to generate enough money to have additional money to reach a goal
Yeah.
or to stop doing things that you're doing, cutting back again to put money to the side to reach the goal that you said you want to set.
Mm.
Which all comes down to discipline, I guess, at the end of the day and focus. So it's like, how bad do you want it or what are you willing to sacrifice or do? But I think for most people, it's the credit in the saving of the money.
For the people that you work with or who may come to you and say they have a goal to purchase a home, do you what kind of strategies do you give them for like improving their profile in order to be able to purchase?
So I mean, most of the time it's just paying down debt. And I mean, for overall, trying not to use the credit cards while you're trying to pay it down. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's like the most basic thing that I tell people.
What advice would you give for someone who's just starting out and interested in real estate but doesn't know exactly where to start?
Well, one, figuring out what their goal is. So like it's a different avenue. I feel like if you want to be a real estate investor, if you want to be an agent. But to keep it simple, whatever you want to do, I would say get around the right people,
Mm-hmm.
learning from other people and taking something from here, from there, and making it your own will
Mm-hmm.
really help you fast track. I know some guys that came into business and they got in the right mastermind groups, the right mentorship, and they're killing it. And what took me 10 years to do, they're done it in three.
Wow. Yeah, that's really
Um,
big.
so like, and again, anything you're trying to do, somebody has done it. So don't be scared to ask for help. Don't be scared to pay for advice. Just make sure you're paying for the right advice and you're paying for the advice that'll help you figure the process out long term and not necessarily to get over quick.
Yeah.
Well, get rich quick schemes. Don't do that. That is where you're gonna, run your head into a wall.
Yeah. And that's big. I want to reiterate that real estate is not a get rich quick industry. It is not for anybody who's trying to get in it. It's not. You can make a lot of money if you make the right plays, but quick is not the word associated with real estate.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. Your team, I'm just gonna shout y'all out because your team has been killing it. Like, I'm like, that is amazing to see, especially seeing a team that is majority black people. Like
Mhm.
to see that it's like y'all are really out here like making moves, and I just love to see it. Like it's amazing.
No, we take it serious. So that's the thing. So we are majority minority owned, not just for African American, but also women owned business. So we take it serious. We know what some of the chatter may be when you deal with minority owned businesses, and we try to make sure that we take notes from Apple, Chick-fil-A, Disney, Saks Fifth, all the places that a lot of people like to frequent, but
Yeah,
we try to make it again a place where no matter what price point, no matter what walk of life you come from, you'll be comfortable in our space.
yeah, I love that. Where can they find you or find out more information about your brokerage?
So, Realty One Group Focus Philly. You can definitely check us out on the website, or you can always follow us on social media, ROG Focus PHL, and then my personal social media handle is Ailey Real Estate. We got some events coming up. Scroll on the pages, like, follow, share. And if you ever want to talk or have a consultation, just shoot me a DM, and I'll make sure I connect with you.
Period. So follow them for all they have going on, all of their amazing team doing big things in Philadelphia. And if you're interested in investing in Philadelphia or purchasing a home, definitely reach out to them and they will get you right. So thank you so much, Anthony, and have a great day.
Thank you.